morning. My name is Marlies Singh, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees here at Mainline Unitarian Church. I want to welcome you all to our service this morning, all of those of you who are here and everybody online. To begin with, I would like to introduce our guest minister of today, the chaplain Heather Gehron-Rice. She was born on the banks of the Susquehanna River and has loved the water ever since. She graduated from Hood College when it was still a women's college and served in the U.S. Coast Guard. Heather began her road to ministry at Lancaster Theological Seminary many moons ago and is now a UU ministerial candidate. She serves as a chaplain at the Lebanon VA Medical Center and hopes to make a career in chaplaincy with veterans. Heather lives in Lancaster City with her spouse, Doug, 2 adult children, and 2 very young and rambunctious cats. Good morning, Reverend Gehron-Rice. The other members of our worship team this morning are Dawn Star Sarah Sporschelt, our Director of Lifespan Faith Development, Michael Cohen, our Worship Associate, and Terry Kleinfelter, our musical guest at the piano. A special welcome to those of you who are visitors here. Please join us after the service across the hall in the fireside room for coffee. And you can also check out the welcome table in the lobby or look at our website, nluc.org. We are Unitarian Universalists. We affirm religious freedom and celebrate diversity. Our religious community does not have a required creed, but instead we come together to support ourselves in searching for meaning and purpose in life and to bring more compassion, justice, and responsible stewardship to our world. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you come from, whatever your personal circumstances, you are welcome here. I just have 2 announcements. We still need more volunteers for the Pride Parade in Narberth, which has been rescheduled to next Saturday. We especially need table staffers after 2 and someone who will take all of our stuff back to the church after the event. And Madeline also asked me to remind you, please leave your name tags in the basket in the lobby. We are trying to experiment with some new systems to organize stuff, so please just drop them off in there and we'll stick them back where they belong. At this time, please take a moment to silence your cell phones and then join me in reciting our mission statement. Together, we transform lives with love, service, and our welcoming faith.
Please join us as we light our chalice. Oh, okay. Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit, touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life. We gather in reverence before the wonder of life, the wonder of this moment, the wonder of being together, so close, yet so apart, each hidden in our own secret chamber, each listening, each trying to speak, yet none fully understanding, none fully understood. We gather in reverence before all intangible things that eyes see not, nor ears can detect, that hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure. Please rise and body your spirit for hymn number 66, When the Summer Sun is Shining.
One morning, Toad sat up in bed.
I have many things to do. I will write them all down on a list so that I can remember them.
Toad wrote on a piece of paper a list of things to do today. Then he wrote, "Wake up."
I have done that.
And he crossed out "wake up." Then Toad wrote other things on the piece of paper.
A list of things to do today. Wake up. Eat breakfast. Ooh, mess. Oh. Well, no. Get dressed. I think I'm dressed enough. Go to Frog's house. Take There, now my day is all written down.
And he got out of bed and had something to eat, as Frog has already started to have something to eat. Toad has something to eat. And then the toad crossed out, eat breakfast. Toad took his clothes out of the closet, put them on, and then he crossed out, get dressed. Toad then put the list in his pocket. He opened the door and walked out into the morning. Soon, Toad was at Frog's front door. He took the list from his pocket and he crossed out, go to Frog's house. Toad then knocked on the door.
Hello.
Hello. Look at my list of things to do.
Oh, that is very nice.
My list tells me that we will go for a walk.
All right, I'm ready.
Frog and Toad went on a long walk. Then Toad took the list from his pocket again and he crossed out, take a walk with Frog. Just then, there was a strong wind and it blew the list out of Toad's hand. The list flew up high into the air.
Help! My list is blowing away. What will I do without my list?
Hurry, we'll run and catch it.
No, I cannot do that.
Why not?
Because running after my list is not one of the things that I wrote on my list of things to do.
Frog ran after the list. He ran over hills and swamps, and the list flew on and on. At last, Frog came back to Toad.
I'm sorry, but I could not catch your list.
But I can't remember any of the things that were on my list of things to do. I will just have to sit here and do nothing.
Toad sat and did nothing. Frog sat with him, and it was good. They sat there for a long time.
Toad, it is getting dark. We should be going to sleep now.
Go to sleep! That was the last thing on my list.
Toad wrote on the ground with a stick, go to sleep. Then he crossed out, go to sleep.
There, now my day is all crossed out.
I'm glad.
Then Frog and Toad went right to sleep.
Children and youth can come with me to the McGinnis room for our class this morning.
During the summer months of July and August, MLUC's offering outreach partner is Family Promise, which was previously known as the Interfaith Hospitality Network of the Main Line. They will be receiving half of what we collect from our offering. This organization provides a caring and positive environment for homeless families while they design and implement a plan to break the cycle of homelessness in their lives. MLUC is part of a group of churches and synagogues in the Philadelphia metro area that provides meals and housing for homeless families 1 week at a time, several times during the year. And some of you who are tuned into reading the newsletter may have read that the youth will be helping in collaboration with Family Promise to set up sleeping and eating spaces in our church, and next month they're going to be creating backpacks for back-to-school families currently in the program or who recently graduated and are in permanent housing. If you'd like to make a donation online, follow the instructions that are behind me. If you have your cell phones and you don't have your wallet but you'd like to make a cashless donation, you can scan the QR code that's on the order of service. The offering will now be greatly received. Candles of Community is MOUC's ritual of personal sharing and support, supported in a trusted and caring environment of our sanctuary. We light a candle in appreciation today of Doug Hunt. Doug is a member of our congregation. He was originally going to be the guest minister today, but he had a problem with his back that made it impossible for him to be here and preach. So thank you, Heather, for jumping in today. The sermon that Doug was to have delivered is about climate change and the urgency surrounding this issue. It's a subject that Doug, if you know him, cares deeply about and regularly talks about, writes about, and it's even most appropriate that July 4th, 2023, just a few days ago, was the hottest day ever recorded on Earth since the time of recording temperatures. If you are on the Community Matters email chain, Doug posted the text of his sermon. I encourage you to take time to read it. It's a very important topic, and we thank Doug for keeping it in our focus. For all of those joys and concerns that are being held, some too deep for words, we light one more candle. Thank you. The reflective reading today is called Things to Do in the Belly of the Whale. It's by Dan Albergati. And there's a whale of a list that I'm going to read to you. Consider them each as I go through them. Measure the walls. Count the ribs. Notch the long days. Look up for blue sky through the spout. Make small fires with broken hulls of fishing boats. Practice smoke signals. Call old friends and listen for echoes of distant voices. Organize your calendar. Dream of the beach. Look each way for the dim glow of light. Work on your reports. Review each of your life's 10 million choices. Endure moments of self-loathing. Find the evidence of those before you and destroy it. Try to be very quiet and listen for the sound of gears and moving water. Listen for the sound of your heart. Be thankful for the fact that you are here, swallowed with all hope, where you can rest and wait. Be nostalgic. Think of all the things that you did and could have done. Remember, treading water in the center of the still night sea, your toes pointing again and again down into the black depths. Thank you.
I was only introduced to that poem a couple of weeks ago, but it really hit me powerfully. Several people read it aloud in succession, and each time we were supposed to name the phrase that stood out to us the most. Find evidence of those who came before. I hadn't really thought a lot about my time as a veteran until I started working as a chaplain at the VA. I've always thanked the women veterans who served before me for making my path easier. And it was only recently that I had the epiphany that easier doesn't mean easy. The still night sea brought back so many memories of camping trips when I was little. Getting up hours before sunrise and sitting on the beach under the endless night sky, that deep dark space with millions of stars and the Milky Way spreading as far as the eye can see. Think of all the things you did and could have done. A conversation that we should remember our scars rather than our wounds. I hope those words were a powerful experience for you as well. We were spending time with this poem as a reminder that rest is absolutely critical for us.
We all need rest. Did you know there are 7 kinds of rest? Physical, mental, sensory, creative, emotional, social, and spiritual. Active rest and passive rest. And that poem names all of them. I'm pretty sure most of us have had the experience of not sleeping or not sleeping well. Generally isn't a good thing for us or anyone around us. Time off work, if we have the privilege, helps us return to our jobs with a renewed sense of who we are. As a chaplain, I work with ministers from different denominations. This year we even have a rabbi. I was pretty much at the end of my rope. Hanging out with evangelicals is not top of the list of fun things to do. I wasn't quite ready to walk away because I'm a bit too stubborn for that, but it was definitely something that kept running through my mind. Then I went to General Assembly a couple of weeks ago in Pittsburgh. Wow, did I need that. Not only was it all the kinds of rest, it was a week with my people, a reminder that I'm not the only one working in the VA or the military and holding our cherished values. It was the affirmation from my colleagues and so many more that not only am I on the right path for me, but there are so many people out there who support me in my work. The other really important lesson from this poem is that we need play. Pablo Neruda, a very famous Chilean poet who won the Nobel Prize for Literature, tells us a child who does not play is not a child, but the man who does not play has lost forever the child who lived in him. The gendered language is a product of his day and time, so I remain true to that, but I would invite us all to translate that to whatever language fits you and your experience best. I usually go to the dictionary when I start a sermon. First word in Webster's definition under noun is swordplay. Go figure. Then there are the archaic game and sport. The third entry is a recreational activity, especially the spontaneous activity of children. Then there are the variations of ways that play is used as a verb. Frolic, trifle, and jest are just a few. And yes, I've always been a word nerd. I think there have been hints for many years about how much we crave play. You don't have to spend very much time on eBay to find toys from your childhood, whenever that might have been. And I suspect many of us have looked at one time or another and remembered a favorite toy, perhaps had the "if only I still had it" thought when we've looked at the price, or maybe even bid a bit more than we care to admit in hopes of a reminder of a time when our lives looked so very different than today. The explosion of adult coloring books, very few of which are truly only for adults, mandalas, mindfulness, animals, flowers, goddesses, just about any topic you could imagine. My best friend got me everyday annoyances and swear word coloring books. And I would strongly recommend that when you Google it, you specify adult coloring books swear words. Speaking from experience. A friend of mine was sharing about how much his Lego budget increased when he was able to buy Legos for his son. How many kids truly want to recreate the entire set of The Lord of the Rings in Lego? Or any of the architecture from around the world? Personally, I would love to have the US Coast Guard with a shark set, but I can't quite justify the price. And the occupational therapist I worked with after my hand injury shared that Legos are a wonderful therapy. Who wouldn't want that excuse? My doctor told me to do it. If only the insurance would pay for them. My mom's a retired jeweler, And I remember the day she came home and was talking about a ring, hand-set pave, 18-karat white gold, 2 carats of diamonds, 15 pink sapphires, 2 black sapphires, making a piece of Hello Kitty jewelry to be worn as a ring big enough to cover 1 knuckle. With a price tag of over $3,000 10 or 15 years ago, it was not designed for a teenager. I've spent time on playgrounds with my kids, they're now adults, and wished I was the one on the swing. And as they grew, I would take a turn too. A favorite memory was the brief time when a local walking path and park had an adult-sized swing set. Not a porch swing, an actual flat board that you could sit on wide enough for grown-ups. It didn't scrunch up around and squeeze. It wasn't there for long, and somewhere there's a picture of Doug and I holding hands and swinging. It wasn't there for long. I'm sure there was some insurance issue, but it's certainly fun while it lasted. We play instruments, sports, card, and board games. Although it's important to remember that what's play for me might not be play for you. My family refuses to play Scrabble with me, and Monopoly and Risk have to be my least favorite games out there, unless it's the Lord of the Rings special editions. We've probably all given up on Trivial Pursuit with that one friend who just knows too much. It's not fun when you can never get a question in there. Trading cards, video games, and on and on and on. And play therapy isn't just for children. Adults can use it to deal with trauma and physical abuse, anger management, and PTSD. It uses play to uncover and deal with psychological issues. There's a credential, registered play therapist, for the Association for Play Therapy. Who knew? Something we don't often talk about is that play is a privilege. One study is titled, Play and Social Justice, Who Gets to Play? John Sutterby shares these insights from the report. There is a confluence of reasons why these playgrounds look so different. Districts which stretch every penny often have to make decisions that do not allow for large expenditures on playground equipment. We should all expect that all children deserve to have access to a place to play that is safe and challenging. The question occurs to me, which playground would you prefer your child to play on? School policies are limiting recess and access to physical activity. These school policies are disproportionately affecting children from low-income backgrounds and more frequently children who are Hispanic or African American. A big culprit is an increase on the emphasis on standardized testing in schools, which surprises no one, I'm sure. School districts and school administrators in low-income districts are more likely to decrease recess than school districts that are more affluent. Children who are at risk of failure on school tests are more likely to be kept from recess. From a social justice standpoint, just the fact that some children get recess because they are from wealthier backgrounds is just not right, and something we should not stand for if we think fairness is important. Chances are, depending on our cultural and socioeconomic background, we all grew up with different ideas of what play is and what it looks like. Many people who didn't have the opportunity to play when they were young are now finding ways to play. For many, it's easier to play when you have the excuse of children to play with. But I think it's worth it for each of us to try something new. Perfectionism is a curse of the white supremacy culture in which we live. In traditional Japanese beauty, wabi-sabi is the beauty of imperfection. It's been evoked in mental health contexts as a helpful concept for reducing perfectionist thinking. It's a lesson that resonated so deeply with me that I have it tattooed on my wrist. It's been there for quite a few years, and I still struggle with it every day. When was the last time you tried something new? Did you hesitate because you might not be good at it right away? A challenge someone offered recently is find something to be bad at. Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive and strange, but it also gives you permission to try something new, just for fun, without worrying about the outcome. Enjoy trying something new and try to let go of the need to get it right. When I was in seminary many moons ago, we were able to take all of our classes pass-fail because they wanted us to learn new things, to experiment, without worrying about how it might affect our grade. And many of us were very relieved the day that someone that shared the best pastors are C students. In our story, Toad made a list, and he included take a nap and play games with Frog. That might be an important lesson for all of us. How many of us include either one of those on our daily to-do list? How many of us use a code word to camouflage that time we want to reserve for ourselves? The time we often sacrifice so easily and freely when something more important comes along. I'd like to introduce you to two phrases. You might have heard them before. The sacred yes and the holy no, or the holy yes and the sacred no. How many of you dread being asked to do something or asking someone to do something? I felt that way for a really long time. I usually feel obligated to say yes, and I know how resentful I can feel. Now, when I ask someone to do something, I add, it's okay to say no. They don't need my permission to say no, but I want them to know that I'd rather they say no if it's not something they really want to do. How many things on your to-do list wouldn't be there if you'd known it was okay to say no? I want for all of us the ability to speak our own sacred yes and holy no. Imagine all the energy to the things you want to do if you aren't spreading yourself so thin with all the things you don't want to do. Of course, there are times when saying no isn't an option. Maybe there's room for negotiation. I'll do this thing that you want to do, and then I want you to do this thing that I want to do. It's not a perfect solution, but sometimes the relationship and doing something together is more important to us. It's about choosing where and when to place our energy. In both anti-racism work and parenting, we look for teachable moments. What might it look like if we looked for playable moments or restable moments? In many Christian traditions, there's a time in the service when you pause and pass the peace. You turn to your neighbor and in pre-COVID times would shake their hand or give a hug. It's come down to us through our early congregational roots. Other traditions have ways of acknowledging the gathered community, bowing with your hands together. The divine in me sees the divine in you. Today, we're going to practice sacred play. So everyone take a deep breath. And another one. We're going to pass the peace with a beach ball. Take another deep breath. Be aware of the flames. Don't play dodgeball with the beach ball. Are there any other cautions I forgot? And please don't see that as a challenge. So,
How do you want to pass the beach ball? How would have wanted to pass the beach ball when you were little? Or a teenager? What would it have meant to be given permission to have fun and enjoy the sacred spaces of your youth? As you pass the ball, with or without words, send your greetings to another person. And let's take some time to play and greet each other. Keep going. Whoa! Volleyball, right? Is anybody not having fun right now? Come on, guys, I said no dodgeball. Did you guys ever here get a chance? Whoa! I really don't want to interrupt. Yeah, I probably should. Was that fun? Did you guys just play in a sacred space? Do you know what that's called? Sacred play. And it was pointed out to me earlier that I had the South Pole on top. So sit with that. I know your perfectionist hearts are probably a little jittery right now. I know mine was. Now we don't have to let go of that lightness and energy because we're going to come back together now and sing one of my favorite hymns, Blue Boat Home, number 1064. And please rise and embody your spirit and hold on to that little kernel of fun you had.
We extinguish the chalice by these words by Brian Keeley. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet. These words from Susan Carlson. We leave blessed by our connections to one another, to the spirit of life. Walk lightly, that you see the life that is below your feet. Spread your arms as if you had wings and could dance through the air. Feel the joy of the breath in your lungs and the fire in your heart. Live to love and be a blessing on this earth. Go forth and play.